Hi, I realized today that sometimes it's really hard to explain how to get unlike fractions to be converted into equivalent like fractions so that you can add them or subtract them. First of all, remember that if two fractions or more fractions have different denominators, you never add the denominators. You never subtract the denominators. When we're adding and subtracting, you can't do anything until all of the fractions have the same denominators. An analogy I like to use is you got to make sure they're all speaking the same language. So let's see. Let's say I've got 1/4 plus 2/3. Well, these two fractions are not speaking the same language. One is speaking fourths, and the other one is speaking thirds. So you want to find a language that they can both speak. Well, when I see 4 and 3, I start thinking 4 times 3 is 12. So maybe I can get them both to speak the language of twelfths. And I'm going to set up two fractions that are speaking the language of twelfths that I'm going to convert these guys into. Okay? So, first I'm going to convert 1/4 into twelfths. Basically, I have to pretend I'm a translator. 1/4 equals some number of twelfths. Well, how do I know how many twelfths? I say to myself, what do I do to 4 to get 12? Well, 4 times 3 gives me 12. So I'm going to do times 3 on top and bottom. And that's going to give me 3. So I'm going to put that up here. Now, let me write my other fraction, 2/3. I have to translate 2/3 into twelfths. 2/3 equals some number of twelfths, right? And I'm going to, again, say to myself, well, how do I translate thirds into twelfths? 3 times 4 is 12. I need to do 2 times 4 up here. Let me pick a totally different color. 2 times 4 is 8. So that's where the 8 goes, up here. And now I'm ready to add. I've been speaking in twelfths, so twelfths is still my denominator. 3 plus 8 is 11. So my answer is going to be 11 twelfths. Let's try another one. Let's say this time I'm subtracting, and I've got 7/10 minus 2/5. I need to get both of these fractions speaking the same language. Can you figure out what denominator I should use so that they're both speaking the same language? I think tenths would be a good denominator to use. I want them to both be speaking in tenths. Hey, as it turns out, 7/10 is already speaking in tenths. I don't need to translate it. But 2/5 I will need to translate. 2/5 equals, I don't know, some number of tenths. How do I translate 2/5 into tenths? Well, I know that 5 times 2 gives me 10, and to translate I have to do the same thing on top and bottom. 2 times 2 gives me 4. So now I'm ready to subtract. 7/10 minus 4/10 equals some number of tenths, because this whole problem has been translated into the language of tenths. 7 minus 4 equals 3. 3/10.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.